What's so great about video games? I mean, the gaming industry. There's a lot of things that you'll hear people say. It's so great that we have so many high-quality games coming out. Or, it's great that there's so many ways we can buy games for really cheap, like Steam sales, GOG, and eShop deals. Or, it's great that retro games are so mainstream now because the more people that are in our hobby, the more valuable our collections become. These are all things that we as gamers love to hear, but are they actually good things? Not always. With so many games coming out, we play, move on, and forget about some truly great titles, sometimes simply because the next new thing is here. Steam sales, G2A keys, and Humble Bundles logically make sense as great ways to save a ton of money on games. But when you look at what you're actually getting, is it something that you purposefully ever would have sought after and purchased with your own money, regardless of a sale? Most of the time, the answer to that is no. And the fact that our retro game collections are worth more now is in fact what's killing the retro gaming scene and the market value of these games, pricing people out of the hobby. In fact, the retro gaming scene is barely alive as it is. The bigger retro scene now is not about gaming, but about collecting. And people, even myself in the past, obsessively seek out and collect these games that they don't actually need or want or will never even play. They own these games that sit on their shelves for 99% of the game's lifespan, becoming nothing more than expensive decoration. But of course, there is two sides to everything. I like good games, so of course I want more high-quality games coming out of the AAA, AA, and even indie scene. But why do we all have to be so quick to jump on the next big new thing? Why can't we just sit with our games and our backlogs for just a little bit longer before moving on? Make some memories with your favorite games before uninstalling them or putting them on their final resting place, the shelf. We should try learning how our favorite games were made, or try speedrunning a particular level or area in the game. Really get to know your games before you move on from them. I do also believe in being frugal, so it's hard for me to fault people who use Steam sales, G2A keys, and other things like that in order to save money on games. But how many times do we buy a game simply because it's on sale and not because we actually want it? I'd wager quite often. I'm even guilty of this. I bought the Mass Effect trilogy on Steam simply because it was on sale for $6.99, even though I already own all of the games in that collection. There's nothing wrong with my Xbox 360, PS3, or PC copies of these games. Yet for some reason I just had to buy the collection simply because maybe it's normally $60 and now it's only $7. It's such a great deal, and these are games that I do love. And I won't even bother counting the amount of different copies of Skyrim that I own. But honestly, it's just a waste of money if I can still plug in my old consoles and play these games how they were originally intended to be played. And another thing I'm guilty of is collecting. Collecting things that I don't actually want or need. Although now I have begun to thin my collection down to either only games that have sentimental value to me, or games that are considered my favorites, or games that I replay quite often. Why should we hang on to games that we're never going to play again, never going to sell, trade, or gift to anyone else? Does it really make us happy to look at that game on the shelf and think and know in the back of our minds that we're never going to play it again? I used to think seeing a game on my shelf would remind me of the great times that I had playing that game, but lately it's more of just a reminder of that I'll probably never have the time to go back to play that game, unless it's one of my absolute favorites or a game that I always make time for no matter what. So these days, looking at a game on my shelf just makes me sad. But you know what makes me happy? Is giving those games to somebody that I know will enjoy them, or selling them to make a little bit of extra money to do something fun, like maybe buy a game that's actually on my wish list instead of another pack of random keys from G2A.com. Seriously, I just paid $3 for 5 games I've never heard of, and one of them won't even launch. Truly, I am a savvy investor. Do I think that people that play every new game are bad? Do I think you should never buy a game just because it's on sale? And do I think video game collectors are evil? The answer to all of those questions is no. But I do think that a lot of us, myself included, would get a lot more enjoyment out of this hobby if we took the time and learned to be happier with what we actually have. Actually play the games that we own and stop hoarding games just for the sake of it. There's something so freeing about not caring what's going on with the current trends and newest releases in the gaming industry. It lets you take a step back and look at your own collection and realize there are hours and hours, maybe even a lifetime already of fun in the collection of games that you already own and haven't played yet. And like I said earlier, I'm just as guilty as the next guy, really, of all of this stuff. I'm not here to judge anyone. I just think we could all be a lot happier with what we already have if we just took a second to think about it instead of being so driven to buy the next big game that just came out, catch the next big sale, or cash out at the next big expensive retro game auction. Take a real, good, hard look at what's already in your collection. I guarantee you, you won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching.